Hello, welcome everybody. Please remember to subscribe if you're not and hit the like button. I would appreciate it very much. It helps a lot. It's good to see you. Hello, Queen. I wanted to talk about what's happening in Minnesota, which is whether anybody, however you feel about anything, that's complete anarchy. That's out of control. And the local police are doing nothing to stop this. The last I heard, we have troops that are on standby. Of course, there's going to be a lot of, in my opinion, this is what they want. They want Trump to bring in the military and have all kinds of chaos go on. As you know, even after the woman was shot and killed last week, the governor has continued to express to people to go out and peacefully protest, which that's not what they're doing. They're not. There's nothing peaceful about what they're doing. And trying to stop people from doing their job, whether you like what their job is or not. No, you are impeding, you are trying to stop law enforcement. And that's such a dangerous thing to do. It really is. It's ridiculous, no matter how you feel about it. That's here or there. And it's just getting more and more dangerous every day. But the all-time low probably was yesterday with storming into a church and acting like that's your constitutional right to free speech by going into a church in the middle of service. That's not they also have rights. See, this is the problem with these kind of protests. They think they have rights. They're the only ones that have rights, right? No one else does. Well, they're wrong about that. They should be being arrested for holding up traffic in the middle of streets. They should be being arrested for a lot of what they're doing. But going into a church, the people in the church have rights too. How about that? This is so gross. It is so disgusting. It's not okay. It's not. I want to show you this picture. I'm telling you, it makes my stomach hurt. It is so sad. They did overstep, 100%. They overstep every time because there's nothing peaceful about what they're doing. That's just the reality. I know. Yes, Lord help us, because look at this picture. Look at this little boy in church, scared. It's infuriating. You can't tell me that people support this kind of crap. I don't care what it is that you are protesting against. This is unacceptable. God, can you imagine? I mean, what the hell is happening? This is what you think. It's infuriating. It is. It absolutely just makes me. I was already super annoyed about the whole thing. No, that's exactly right, Beck. They're 100%. And local law enforcement is doing nothing. Can you imagine? People are calling 911. Even dispatch is being ugly and rude to them. They are paid protesters. They are. Mm-hmm. No, they wouldn't do it no, they wouldn't. You're right. But they're not allowed to. They're not allowed to do it here. Watch this stupid Don Lemon. He's gonna be charged, and I'm super glad about that. He has to be. The problem is, though, see, this is where we have these problems. Is you have even the local judges, judges all over this country are trying to step into every single thing they can. We knew all of this was going to happen. They're trying to stop everything Trump does. They tried to kill him, tried to put him in prison. And now it's just some kind of a judge is stepping into everything. You know why they want him there? Because it's, number one, they're sending money. The fraud is out of control there, and they're sending the money out of the country, and a whole lot of it is coming back. Because what I guarantee you is the fraud that is happening here, that is outrageous, is coming back. Some of it is being laundered and coming right back here, because I'll bet you that taxpayers are paying for these protesters one way or another through all these NGOs, all this horse shit, all this crap. I guarantee you we're being paid. We're ripping us off with taxes so we can give all these daycares and all this nonsense money. And they bring it back and they use it to rig elections. They use it for campaigns. Look at Tim Walz. After he was announced to be on the ticket with Kamala, the very next day, $36 million went into that campaign. We're paying for all of it, every way around. Hello, Jerry. Good to see you. It's just so beyond anything that I can even handle. It's infuriating. And these useless idiots, or not useless, I'm sorry, useful idiots, listen how he does it. Oh my God, I'm so angry. This stupid Don Lemon. Listen how he talks to this guy. See, these people are so entitled. I literally cannot stomach this shit.
What do you think of this? I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. So,
but there were folks who
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live in there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. How about the freedom to go to church service? Do you believe this? Now he's trying to really play off like he was just, being a journalist here. No, he wasn't. And watch what he says to this guy. This guy is trying to get away from him. Watch him.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship.
Okay, please don't push me, though. Really? Please get out of my church. He's already trying to get away from him and say he needs to take care of his congregation. Right. Exactly right. Texas Lake. That's exactly right. I cannot.
Worship Jesus.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why we're here.
Okay.
That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and
worship.
love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a
No
Christian?
one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to
Unless you're here to
chronicle what
worship.
happened?
Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here. Well, we're here to worship.
Yeah.
We're here to worship. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. What do you think of?
What a total piece, huh? I know. So it's beyond. It really is. See, this is what and this is their right too, I suppose. Yes, he is. So nothing against the law about that, huh? And the politicians are encouraging this. They're totally encouraging it. But Don Lemon thinks that I still don't know how I feel about if anybody will really be charged or not, because we have all this all these judges trying to get in the middle of everything and stop everything. And I don't know what the hell Pam Bondi's job even is. To think though, think about how many people think they could get by with any of this, any of it? I mean, literally, jaywalking is against the law. These people completely prevent people from going and cut off police officers. And this is anarchy. This is not protesting. It's not. I've never heard of churches locking the doors, honestly. And why should they? Honestly, I'm just, why would you think you have to lock the church doors? And that's not really the point. Quite honestly, it doesn't matter. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do it. You're just not. They got some kind of intel that somebody working with ICE is affiliated with this church somehow. So what? And you can't see, this is a whole thing. So why didn't they lock the doors? Why don't we all just lay down and let them just rape us? Because that's what they want to do and they're allowed to. Bullshit. That's not the way that works. Wow.
Wanting to play you just a few clips of exactly what happened yesterday. Our producers, Harmeet, is on a tight timeline here and, of course, has some very important work to do today, but she wanted to check in with you to let you know that Christianity is still a protected religion in our nation, as is all religions. I mean, what is the limiting principle here exactly? Don Lemon joined here. Toss up the article. This is what we're going to talk about today. Yesterday, and I want just roll through, show exactly what happened. Because like a church where a Christian pastor is preaching the word of God in St. Paul, Minnesota. I said Minneapolis a second ago. Twin Cities. Congregation, full congregation of Christians.
No, quite the thing. Yeah, that's a public place. Okay, that's a people are welcome in there. Yeah, we have locks on our doors. That just because the door's not locked doesn't mean you get to. The door's not locked at Costco. You don't get to go in there and just take over and do whatever the hell you want. It's just not the way that works. They don't get to do whatever the hell they want. Yeah, well, when you get locked in a church, it's a little bit of a odd feeling, I think. You should be able to come and go. Just because the doors aren't locked, I'm not going to argue about some shit like that. That's completely stupid. You're not allowed in there, period. You're not allowed to go in there and act like and disrupt what's happening. It's not their home.
Sitting inside of this church, and suddenly left-wing orcs storm into the church. Let's hear it. And start shrieking and screaming at the parishioners.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Shame on you! Shame on you!
Behaved in an absolute godlike manner. The Christians started praying against these demons. Let me go ahead and educate everyone here very quickly about what we're going to talk about with Harmeet Dillon.
Can you believe this?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is 18 U.S. Code 248. Freedom of access. Let's go ahead and read here what the law says.
Yes, it's horrific.
And then we will play you more tape and see if you believe that these individuals violated this law. Prohibited activities. Any by force or threat, physical obstruction, intentional injuries, intimidation, or interferences with or attempts to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person lawfully exercise or seeking their First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of worship. There it is in black and white. It is illegal to intimidate or threaten or force yourself into, attempt to injure or interfere with any person lawfully exercising their freedom of religion. I have a couple clips for you. Let's go bearded man, shrieking and screaming.
Oh, yeah. Listen to this. Listen to this one.
Here we go. Let me ask, does this seem like, and I'm reading to you directly from American law here, an attempt to interfere with people freely practicing their religion? Go.
You can see all these pretend Christians all these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your law.
Okay, being dragged to concentration camps. Again, see, this is the kind of horseshit. And this is the kind of stuff that the media and Tim Walz and all these people are perpetrating the same shit. First of all, that's not true. Secondly, I don't even give a shit if it is. This guy right here, someone should have kicked his ass. God.
Doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No. Jesus would dine with immigrants. Do not touch me. Touch me again and see what happens.
Oh yeah, and they keep on saying, "Don't touch them. Don't touch them." Right? Get out. Have you seen the little boy? Watch, you'll see the little boy whose dad is holding him. He's scared. If these people don't go to jail, I swear.
Look at this.
You are a fake Christian.
Touch me again and see what happens. Does that sound like a potential violation of the FACE Act? By force or by threat of physical obstruction, injuring persons, intimidating or interfering to injure, intimidate, or interfere with a person lawfully exercising their First Amendment right to religious freedom in a place of worship.
Christian, why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting this attack on humanity? Where are you? You're sinners.
Why are you not out here acting like assholes like us? Because they don't want to. They don't have to. See how insane these people are? They're absolutely insane. You think you can browbeat them because they're not out being thugs with you? Oh, this is...
You're pretending to be Christians, but we know you live an easy life, don't you? A very easy life while people are starving.
This is the
What?
predictable outcome of what the left has become. The left was always going to begin attacking Christians. They were always going to start at the church. Look at this. He's going after little kids getting into their church vans. He's doxing children.
Living real comfortable while the people starve. Living real comfortable while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're all living real comfortable, aren't you? Shame on you.
Wow.
These people are demons. They are monsters. They are now going to begin attacking churches. We've been predicting this for a long time. We saw it during COVID, where they locked down churches but opened up liquor stores, strip clubs, and casinos. The goal is always to attack the church. Marx writes at the very beginning of the Communist Manifesto that in order to gain full control over society, you have to destroy the family and the church. These are the two things that must be driven to ruin. The demonic Marxist left was always going to attack places of worship. Now ask yourself, what is the limiting principle here? What question lies before the Trump administration and the Department of Justice right now? The question is, are we going to allow this in our country? What kind of a country we want to run? Is this going to happen next to a synagogue, to a mosque? Is it going to happen to every single church in America? Like, at what point do you say enough? You have to say enough now, in this instance. Otherwise, it will continue to every single place of worship, to every private residence, to everywhere. It will not stop.
Right. That's the whole thing. When do they go to private residence? And in some ways, they are doing that. You know, last week, whenever ICE were trying to arrest somebody at a home, these people came and started hitting them with snow shovels. And the people acted like, of course, the politicians, the chief of police got up there and never even mentioned that part of it. This is the protesters going into a church yesterday, causing havoc. Panda.
These people are driven by evil. Evil does not sleep. You can see here, Don Lemon looking directly into a van of a bunch of children who were crying and weeping. Okay, my producer is telling me that Harmeet is locked in and ready to go. Show me that young boy. Show me that young child crying in the pews. It's a son crying in his father's arms in the pews as a left-wing BLM Muslim mob storms a Christian church. And a little Christian boy is weeping in his father's arms. This is the United States of America? No, ladies and gentlemen. This is not what should be allowed in our country. Don Lemon telling us exactly what he intended to do here.
Sad.
As little children run out of the church, weeping and crying, Don Lemon stands there pointing at them saying, this is the point. The point is to make them feel uncomfortable. Here we go.
Here, look, he's hugging his kid. And, you know, I just imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here. But again, careful, it's very slippery right here. Yeah. It's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here, but that's what really, careful, please, really slippery. Not kidding. That's what protesting is about. And so.
Okay. So the goal here was to terrorize little children in the church.
See?
Don Lemon straight up saying, the goal here is to make the little Christian children uncomfortable as we storm their place of worship and terrorize them. Ladies and gentlemen, checking in with my producers one more time. Set and ready to go with Harmeet? Fantastic. Okay. This is an important one, and we have so much more to cover on what happened yesterday, but this is the biggest question right now in the country.
Right. That they don't have a right to just storm into a church. They don't. You know, they're not the only people with rights, and they're not protesting peacefully at all. They never have. And the more people get by with, the further it's going to go, and the worse it's going to get. It's so gross. Yeah, nothing peaceful about this. No, but you listen to the politicians and the mainstream media, and they'll keep telling you how peaceful it is. So disgusting.
Which is, what is America? Is America a country that protects religious liberty? Do we follow the rule of law? Do the laws that say you're not allowed to harass and attack people who are worshiping God, do those apply to Christians in this Christian nation? To answer those questions, Harmeet Dillon, ladies and gentlemen, Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, joins the show live now. Harmeet, I want to thank you for being on the program today, and I appreciate your commentary yesterday. It was, in fact, the first, I believe, member of the Trump administration to hop on and say this. The Civil Rights Division is investigating the potential violations of the FACE Act. These people are desecrating a house of worship and interfering with Christian worshipers. And then you tagged Pam Bondi. Can you give me an update on this post, Harmeet?
Well, yes, actually, I posted that from an airplane, and Pam Bondi and my boss, had already been in touch about this incident, what we're going to do about it. And so I'm working hand in hand with her. We have sent federal prosecutors last night from my office in DC to Minnesota. They should be landing any moment now. We activated the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office as well. And this has the highest attention of the Attorney General and my Department of Justice team, because it is, as you said in your intro, this isn't actually a question of whether we're going to stand for it. We don't stand for it in this country. And not every case that we do at the DOJ gets the headlines, but we've already prosecuted numerous attacks on churches so far in the last 9 months since I took office under Pam Bondi's leadership. We are investigating multiple attacks on synagogues. It is evil to attack any house of worship in America. It is illegal. And what I saw yesterday made me ashamed, frankly, for the United States, that we have an attorney general in Minnesota, Keith Ellison, a district attorney, Mary Moriarty, a mayor, Jacob Fry, and Tim Waltz, Tampon Tim, who absolutely refuse
Yes.
to enforce our state laws. Their own state laws prohibit this very conduct. Well, if they're not going to enforce their laws, we will enforce our federal laws, and we are already doing that. And so, as you know, and as people have said, the prior administration prosecuted people under the FACE Act for peacefully praying outside abortion clinics where unborn children were being killed inside. Now, that's protected by federal law. That's up to Congress. However, that same law gives us the right at the Department of Justice to prosecute the same kind of conduct vis-a-vis any house of worship. And there's been a lot of talk of the First Amendment thrown around. The First Amendment includes the right to pray without interference. It includes the right of these people to not have so-called journalists and a mob of activists disrupt their sacred day of prayer. And so, as far as I can tell, these very foolish people have already, many of them self-identified online as to who they were. They posted who their accomplices were. Don Lemon has made numerous admissions online as to his participation here and his intention.
Yeah, Don Lemon is already all nervous. He's trying really hard to pretend he's a journalist in this. But he already showed who he is, as if everybody didn't already know.
And his knowledge of what was going to happen inside that sacred place.
Yes,
and
I
so
hope so.
we're gathering the facts, and there will be action here. I know people are frustrated. Where are the arrests, et cetera? Let me explain that for you and your team, Benny, because state prosecutors could have arrested some of these people yesterday. They don't have some of the same hurdles that we do in the DOJ. When DOJ, we gather our facts, we go to a federal judge. A federal judge has to issue the search warrants. We all know what the federal judges are doing right now in Minnesota. We will pursue charges in this case. I see various crimes that have occurred. Exactly what they are, I'm not going to flag, but the FACE Act has been mentioned as one of the predicates there. In other cases, the Biden DOJ used the Klan Act conspiracy charges tacked on to the FACE Act in the case of protests outside abortion clinics to bring much longer sentences. So there are a number of tools available to us. Who funded this? What else? What other crimes may have occurred? Was there a use of the wires or the mails in preparing for this event? Did anyone cross state lines to do this? All of those are potential predicates for additional federal charges.
Harmeet, I've just pulled up the Klan Act because this is the first time that I've heard this mentioned. This is a act that was passed in 1871. Correction there.
Listen to, well, won't this be hysterical for stupid ass there?
Combat the Ku Klux Klan and protect African Americans' voting rights, especially the Enforcement Act, which is known as the Force Act. So here's some of the information on screen. Would you mind breaking down for us, because we have just read the FACE Act and how this is an affinity to the FACE Act, an obvious and egregious demonstrable violation of the FACE Act, because they were entering a place of worship, harassing and threatening. We just played a video of a man, a bearded man, who was threatening to attack the Christians that were worshiping there. So it seems like an obvious FACE Act violation. But the Klan Act here, it is on screen. First time I've heard it mentioned. Can you unpack this for us, Harmeet?
Yeah, the Klan Act is one of the most important federal civil rights statutes, and it goes back to the time when President Lincoln emancipated the slaves, and yet the southern states, Dixiecrats mainly, were refusing to give them equal rights. And in fact, that you had sheriffs and you had law enforcement harassing the newly freed slaves. So the Klan Act is a law that makes it illegal to terrorize citizens, to violate their civil rights, to get together and conspire to violate the civil rights. It is often used against law enforcement, but is now used against others as well. So whenever anyone conspires to violate the protected civil rights of American citizens, the Klan Act can be used to bring a conspiracy charge. We, in the federal law enforcement parlance, call this 241 and 242 civil and criminal conspiracies. And so what the Biden administration did is, if 3 grandmas got together to pray outside an abortion clinic for the souls of the people inside, and including unborn children, they would say, oh, that's not just a violation of the Klan Act, that's a conspiracy to violate the civil rights of women going in there to get abortions. And so we're going to add additional charges and punish that more and make it from a misdemeanor under the FACE Act to a felony under the Klan Act. And President Trump pardoned the pro-life protesters in those cases. I have recently defended successfully in the 11th Circuit a case called Oropesa, a case of Jane's Revenge, the pro-abortion protesters.
Okay, so we see all the different ways. Absolutely, he should. Good to see you, Frazzled. Yes, he should invoke. I hope that he does. And the problem, they're trying to push that because they want more violence. They want more. First of all of the politicians in Minnesota want to try to take the attention off of all the money they're stealing. There's all kinds of reasons. And they want these upheavals. They want this stuff. They always do. So it's a scary thing because it's going to get really bad. But I think that, no, I just want to see this idiot again, Don Lemon, and then we'll. Because he's trying to act like he was there just as a journalist. That is not true. Hey,
In this. Then Don Lemon gives the organizer, who's some famous BLM organizer from the George Floyd era, he gives her a kiss live on camera while Don Lemon is sort of leading the charge here into the church.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
so
she's
it
a lawyer
defies
too.
oh, really? So it defies explanation, Harmeet, that they didn't know that he's an innocent party and that he's just journalisming. Really quickly, if you don't mind, he had a message to you, and I'd like to play it here. He got your name wrong, but it's just an act of journalism. Here we go.
The MAGA administration and the fake news MAGAs are losing their mind over something that's not even true. So let me just make it clear, because this assistant attorney general, I don't know, what's his name? Something Hammett, Gillen or whatever.
So thank you for joining the show, Hammett.
I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests.
It's not true.
Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism, which was report on it and talk to the people who were involved, which included the pastor, members of the church, and members of the organization. That's it. It's called journalism.
Okay. Your response to Don Lemon.
Well, look, I mean, we have a presumption of innocence in this country, so I want to preserve my ethical duties here. But let me just say that, he's a journalist. He was a journalist. I don't know what he is now, but journalism is not a badge or a shield that protects you from criminal consequences when you are part of a crime. And I think the videos show how close he was to these folks. I think further evidence will show more information about that. But he clearly knew, and he stated before going into the facility, it's on his own video, what was going to happen there.
Exactly.
What was going to happen was a violation of federal law, federal criminal law. And I don't know what to say. I mean, the FACE Act has been out there for more than 30 years, and there were lawyers involved in this so-called protest, and their purpose was to terrorize people of faith in a house of worship. They were targeting a different pastor, not the one seen on camera, who they got information was a ICE supervisor. None of that matters. It's awful.
No, it doesn't. It is wicked, Frazzle. It absolutely is. It's disgusting. It is so disgusting. Seeing that poor child terrified, I can't even stand that. Well, if you think it's hilarious, then don't bother hanging around here because we don't want to hear from you. Yeah, I don't have any patience for someone who thinks this shit's funny at all.
Off limits to go into a house of worship to do your little protest. Protests can occur on public property. Protests can occur outside, on a sidewalk, certain sidewalks, not all sidewalks. And this is like basic what you learn in the first year of law school. There's a time, place, and manner restrictions on the First Amendment right of protest, and they were violated here in this case. No question about it. The only question is who was involved, how many were involved, and how many charges are going to be brought here. Those are the questions.
Right. See, that's all we need to worry about. I wanted you to hear about this guy. Yeah, that little boy sitting there breaks my heart. Watch this guy, though.
Disturbed looking man. He had recently just been arrested and catch and released by Minnesota law enforcement officials 2 days earlier. I think it was on Friday. And that's why he was free to terrorize this child and his parents and this family. Shameful. But he's shouting about them being white and privileged. And so those are additional things that we're looking at. Is there a racial element to this church being targeted? Because that's also illegal in America, committing crimes on the basis of the race of the victims. And so I just commend this congregation. They are obviously godly people who are calm in the face of this. I mean, I see people calmly talking with Don Lemon, sticking his little goofy mic into their face. And that's not what they came to church for. They prepared their minds. They came to receive wisdom and seek the comfort of their colleagues and hear a teaching from the pastor. And instead, this is what they got. Well, the lesson learned here is going to be the lesson learned by these so-called protesters, that their right to protest ends outside the church. It does not extend inside the church. If they trespassed in a better run city and state,
right,
they would already have been arrested under state law, which can happen much more quickly than I can do, for violation of Minnesota's version of the FACE Act. It's also illegal to do this in Minnesota, and for trespass. I don't think anything's going to happen. I haven't heard a word from Keith Ellison or from Mary Moriarty, the district attorney in Hennepin County, where this happened.
So hopefully we're going to see charges. I mean, we have to. Yep. I agree. Yeah, what would you do? That's just it. What would you do if, this is a problem. The way this kind of behavior, this thug mentality, like, people are thrown off guard, right? You don't expect this to happen. Nobody does. And so what do you you're in complete shock. And there's a whole mob of them. It's not just the one screaming guy. You've got Don Lemon acting like an idiot. All these people in there shouting them down. I mean, it doesn't even seem like the same country. Like, what the hell are we doing? And for anybody to defend this behavior, I seriously, I have zero, I cannot talk to somebody who wants to defend this. I don't give a shit what you like. You know how much shit I don't like? A lot. You don't get to go and behave like this. This is not a civilized society with this. Right. Schools, wherever they want to go. So far, they're allowed to do anything they want. They can vandalize things. They can impede investigation. It's so dangerous. What they're doing with the ICE agents, that is so dangerous. Those police officers, they don't know what they're getting themselves into every single day. Who knows what's going to happen? These people follow them around. And where do they get their information? They got information that an ICE supervisor is involved with this church somehow. First of all, so what? Secondly, where does this information? There are people here that a lot of people involved in this. No, the police locally are doing nothing to stop this. They're not. They are not. Yeah, whenever they find out that an ICE agent has students at a school, and then people want to know why they're wearing masks. Well, I wonder why they're wearing masks. And again, all this talk about, oh, well, police officers are supposed to show their face quite frankly, there's a lot of undercover police. There's a lot. And just stop it. Just stop with this stupid shit. Masked men collecting up kids and throwing them in concentration camps. Really? And you have idiots out there that believe some of this shit. But I don't even care if you do believe it. You're not allowed to do this shit. Flat out. You're just not. Me too, Cinderella. Me too. I've just been furious. I'm sick to my stomach about it because it's not going to get better. Nothing good is going to happen here. Nothing. I mean, they've got to call. It's so bad because Trump needs to send in the military. He needs to invoke the Insurrection Act. He needs to. But that's what they want him to do. They want this trouble. Because people see this kind of crap. And the news, the mainstream media is not going to be honest about it. Well, I think in some places the police do, most places I think police would do something about it, but not there. They're not doing it there. Well, Tim Walz said that he's going to bring in, I think he has the National Guard on standby, and he's made it clear that they're not going to be there. They will be there. It'll be Minnesota National Guard, which he believes will be against ICE. I don't know what happens when you have that going on. I don't even know what you call that. My understanding, the troops that Trump has on standby are Marines from Alaska that are ready, are prepared for this kind of cold and stuff. I don't know any of that for sure. That's what I've heard. Exactly. They all need to be locked up. Ilhan, are you kidding me? How long do we have to tolerate Ilhan in our Congress? This is absolute crap. Pam Bondi needs to get her ass busy. Actually, she needs to get the hell out. I'm sick and tired of her. That Ilhan, I can't take it. I'm not. Oh my God. My head just wants to absolutely explode with this crap. She's out there running her mouth with, how Minnesotans are showing, who's boss. And I think he does have to. And I don't even know what I'm more afraid of. Honestly. He actually has to, though. This has got to come to an end. It has to. There was one guy that was stabbed, beat, and stabbed, and there was another guy that had Nick so I don't know how to say his name. Sorter. Yeah, okay. They stole his camera and he tried to get it back, and then they end up dragging him with their car. His hand got caught. Oh yeah, I have definitely run out of patience with Bondi. I can't tell you. I'm really fed up with her. Yeah, see, you listen to this. Where is wait, no. Hold on. Okay, I can't see. Yeah, the YouTube. Yeah. And oh my God. Okay. Okay, listen to this. Okay, some of you might recognize Keith Ellison. That's the Minnesota AG. He was in Congress before. I remember him from Congress, but he's a piece of shit. They all are crooks. Listen to this stupid shit.
The protest is fundamental to American society. This country started in a protest, and it's freedom of expression. People have a right to lift up their voices and make their peace, and none of us are immune from the voice of the public. So, quite honestly, I think that you got the First Amendment, freedom of religion, and the freedom of First Amendment, freedom of expression, and I think that I think it's just something you gotta live with in a society. The protest.
Yeah, just something you got to live with. No, we don't have to live with that. That's just it. We don't have to. He doesn't think that people should live with ICE being able to do their job, but people in church need to live with it, right? He's a total piece of shit. Yeah, what does this say? The mayor of Minneapolis said the church protest was unsettling. There'd be peace and order in Minneapolis if ICE left. Okay, so there you go. Oh, this says that Minneapolis prosecutor's top aide was part of the mob that went in to the church. Wow. Well, hopefully they'll go to jail. I know, isn't that wild? Yeah, you feel like you're in the Twilight Zone. What the hell? Oh my God. Doesn't it? I feel like what world am I living in? This says more Black Panthers have taken to the streets in Minneapolis to protest and protect the community against the abuse by ICE and the Trump administration. See, this is not going to be good. Shit. It is so scary. I agree. I don't know. This is going to be, I don't know what's going to happen. See, I feel like, but if Trump keeps waiting, it's just going to get bigger. They're going to grow bigger and bigger. And what are we going to call this? You know, I just keep feeling like he doesn't want to escalate things because that's really what they want. But it's happening anyway. They need to start arresting every idiot that stands in the road and obstructs traffic. Everybody who obstructs, impedes on an ICE whatever they're doing, whatever they're doing, they all need to just start going to jail. That stuff is not allowed. It's just not. Right. Well, that's the thing, Kentucky woman. You know, so many times people are saying, you know, how come they're just going after people in Minnesota? Well, the fact is that we have a whole bunch of people there, a bunch of refugees there that are stealing a shit ton of money. That's a damn fact. That's number one. But the fact is, ICE is conducting raids in a lot of states, but the local authorities are not fighting them. they're cooperating with them. And in these crazy liberal states, these sanctuary cities, law enforcement is not cooperating. And that's what's happening. I don't even know, Kentucky woman. I mean, I don't think that most people are afraid to go to church, but now they probably are. But that's not going to happen in every city. It's actually not. Most people, a lot of states are cooperating and not having all this chaos. These people want this chaos. They're doing it on purpose. They are sending agitators in there. These useful idiots. I don't even know what's going to happen. I mean, I really don't. I don't have any. Obviously, my idea would be to not try to get involved in this. Yes, exactly. Yep. And there's a good chance, if you're in a red state, or even not even a red state, you got to think about, even in New York, in upstate New York, most of those people are very conservative. That's what happens. A lot of California is very conservative, but you have the big cities, the big counties with a lot of well, I believe that you are. I mean, I think you have I don't think that, I personally don't care for your governor myself, Kentucky woman, but mostly I'm not quite sure how that happened. I think that you're pretty much in a red state. I've always thought of it as a red state. Even states that aren't completely red, a lot of people are not trying to fight with the federal government. And that's the thing. They're not, it's so ridiculous. The federal government is in charge of immigration. I think that's good. I don't think that you're going to have a problem where you're at. I think that won't happen in Kentucky. That's my opinion. You know, well, the thing is, because a lot of places they went, this is why they want all these immigrants. They want to pile them up everywhere. This is why they open the borders. It's for voters. And then, because then they want to say that you're racist if you want someone to show ID to vote. I mean, obviously, that's nonsense. We have to show ID to do anything. To vote, you most certainly should. But they don't want that. That's why they're, my opinion, this is why they are putting them, they're bringing a bunch of immigrants into to the middle of the country. I think they started this quite some time ago. But look at these it's always happening in LA, right? It's always this kind of thing going on. Probably it's a safe haven. Yeah. It probably is, but I still don't know that you guys would really have this kind of thing. I don't know that I still think you are going to be okay. But Look at Chicago, all these places. They want to fight this ICE stuff because they opened up the borders for a reason. They want this chaos. Yeah, you guys won't have that go on. I don't think. I don't think Arkansas is going to have that. For sure. Sarah Huckabee is not going to be fighting ICE. And yeah, think about the people that are trying to go somewhere on these streets. People trying to go to work, people trying to do something, and you've got all this chaos. And you know, a lot of the YouTubers that are there on the ground, they have said that they're talking to these people. Most of them are not from there. They're being brought in. The text I got said it's Indivisible that's running this show, organizing these protests. They're not. These are not organic people who really care about this stuff. Mm-mm. That's not what's happening. So people are getting paid. They're getting, and then of course you do have those ones though that really do, you know, like that guy screaming that kids are being hauled off to concentration camps. I mean, really? It's ridiculous. It is. It is. I got a text message from the ACLU. I signed up so I could see what they're up to. And they sent me a text message to get ready and get out and protest. And that it says, what did it say? Talked about Indivisible. That's who's doing this. Said their privacy, Indivisible privacy policy applies. That's what it said, the text I got from ACLU. I never click on their thing because on their yeah. Shoot. Oh, wait. Yes, it is. It is. It's scary, Kentucky woman. It is. I think you're going to be okay. I do. We're praying for the whole country, for everybody. I'm sorry you're getting upset. I do think you're okay there where you're at. Yes, we do need to pray for our country. This is scary stuff, guys. It's very scary. And the one thing that's going to be a problem, though, is that you're going to have these judges trying to stop the federal government from arresting these people. That needs to stop immediately. I am so tired of that. Every move they make, some judge comes in and tries to stop it. It is. It's very scary times, actually. I'm scared for our country very much. And I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't want to see anyone else get hurt. I don't celebrate violence and certainly not somebody passing away. I'm not a crazy ass liberal that actually would celebrate anybody's death. This is what you're dealing with, though. People saying, it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's got to happen. No, it doesn't have to happen. So hopefully we'll see Don Lemon in handcuffs and all of them there in Minnesota. All of them. What a day, huh? Never thought you'd see this. But just pray and watch and keep your head on a swivel for sure. Who knows what the hell? But so much, I know, there is so much evil, and it's really sad. We are, no, you're right, Jerry, we are. Yeah, this is not something we understand to this degree. And it doesn't seem like there's any end in sight. But I guess always tomorrow is another day. Lately, every day you wake up, it's just gotten worse. But just don't forget, everybody, don't forget the picture of that child sitting there terrified. Because that is just disgusting. Exactly. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna get off here. I'm like Cindy. It's had me sick all day long, and I couldn't. I knew I had to say something. I couldn't hold it. But everybody try to have a good night. I hope I didn't upset anyone. And I'm praying for everyone. Yep, everyone have a good night. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for being here. Good night.